Hi everyone, Charlie Tolhurst here, and of course me and Zach are here tonight on the Tonight Show podcast. I'm Charlie, and of course Zach. But we're both here for the Tonight Show podcast. Late Parts, Paul, Zach, and myself. Hello, Zach, tonight.
Hello, Charlie. Hello, mate.
Right, well, hi guys, welcome to the show. A bit of a different setup, unfortunately, tonight, because my laptop has decided to break down, and is on charge until later on. So I am going to be on here for the first part of the show. So I've got a trusty device next to me to try and help me with all the news. We're going to go over some news stories right now, which I thought would be interesting whilst we're here. And it's been announced that of the US and the UK strikes failed to slow the Houthi attacks. This comes as there have been 9 attacks on ships across the last 3 weeks, compared to 6. And there've been 9 attacks since the US-led strikes began on the 11th of January. Shipping use in the vital Red Seas, the trade route's been dropped by 29%. That is the first news story as well. Also, a Clapham suspect convicted of sex offence in 2018. A new image of Abdul Adizi shows him with facial injuries. It's revealed he was granted asylum back in 2021 or 2022. And the bombshell of tonight's news stories, I know it's a sports story, but we thought we'd include it because it's kind of a sports story with an interesting dilemma. Lewis Hamilton, you might remember him, the 7-time Formula One world champion, 6 world championships with Mercedes. He is going to be leaving the team at the end of the season to join Ferrari. As I've said all along today, is he going to be doing a Sebastian Vettel style end of his career, where he goes to another team and retires after just a couple of seasons? Well, all on that on the show tonight. They are the main stories. I've got Zach here, who is going to help us go through them. So, Zach, what do you make to the news stories there that I've just mentioned?
Yeah, there's 3 of them that you mentioned. I'm going to go through them, trying to get through them individually. First of all, start with the Middle East. The attacks have been continuing with the Houthis still doing their usual rubbish, despite the fact that we bombed them a few times already, and that's not actually proven to be worked at the moment. Alongside with the US and the UK, we've sort of, and obviously non-defensial support from the likes of Bahrain, Australia, Netherlands, and a few other countries as well. The campaign out there continues. We had the news a lot obviously like a few days ago that there was an attack in Jordan with a US airbase attacked, and 3 US soldiers unfortunately being killed in that as well. Any US soldier life is very, very serious. And this attack was done by, looks like, Iraqi resilience groups just outside, obviously within Jordan, just on the border with Syria as well. There will be a response by the US. It's expected to be most likely attacks and bombings on Iraqi resilience groups in Syria and Iraq. There was speculation that maybe Iran would have been directly involved in this. Doesn't appear to be so. Nothing from the Iran Revolutionary Guards group at all on this front yet. But at the moment, it looks like, I know there's been calls from like senators like Lindsey Graham, John Cornyn, a few others as well, that the US should go and attack Iran directly and target their military infrastructure. The Biden administration's got a difficult decision here, because they want to avoid direct conflicts with Iran, but they also do not approve, and I've been telling Iran to stop funding these groups that are causing these bombing incidents and destroying US bases, and as well, because they are partly responsible for funding the Iraqi resilience groups, the Houthis, as we know, and they're responsible for their own incidents across in Iran as well. In fact as well, I think the Biden administration wants to avoid war with them, direct conflict, but also as well send a message to saying this is not tolerable. So I suppose given the fact there's no Iran direct involvement, the targeting of bases in Syria and Iraq would probably be the best option in this case. But I suspect if Iran does get involved in a direct attack one day, that I feel like for me, then there'd be no other option but to target Iran directly and their military capabilities as well. But it's not yet. We're not at that stage yet. I hope it doesn't get to that stage as well. The second story that you mentioned is what happened in Coburn as well, with this asylum seeker that appears to be going around with substances and poisonous things as well. Yeah, it's not great as well.
Horrendous, I have to say, Zach. I think
Horrendous,
it's
it really
extremely
was.
dangerous.
And it was revealed by GB News this evening. Obviously, Sky have backed that up as well. But there was a chemical attack in Clapham. And it used to be a former asylum seeker. It turns out this person who does it is a former asylum seeker who had his application denied twice before being granted the right to stay in the United Kingdom. Now, I think there are serious questions for the Home Office in this as to how this person was denied twice, but then allowed in the UK. I think that there is serious questions on that front, that we have an extreme radicalist Islamist as well, that is going around causing chemical attacks and putting substances over shoppers as well. His name is Abdul Azidi, and he's apparently a convicted sex offender as well. He was smuggled into the UK by a lorry twice, but before being granted in 2021. So he's been in UK for 3 years as well. So, yeah, I think this is really bad. And there's a lot of questions as well that, that needs to be answered. Obviously, the suspect needs to be found. That needs to be apprehended as well. And there's images of him that's gone around the internet as well. And there's pictures of him. So hopefully the members of the public can dial in as well. Call 999, calling support numbers to see if he's around. But yeah, I mean, obviously the news that he was a chemical attack, and the fact that he, used a substance to harm people is really, there is questions to answer. I think that the Home Office has allowed him in to the UK to commit attacks on other people, but also for him as well, that he's committed attacks, in the UK and has caused serious harm to people as well. So that's the second story. And in the third story as well, oh my goodness me. I mean, if you're a sports fan, and you've been an F1 fan for many years as well, I mean, we too are massive fans. We've seen times where silly season has gone completely bonkers, and has shocked us. And we thought we could be more shocked with what was coming today. I mean, today has been probably the most biggest news in an F1 transfer market in its history. Let's just be honest about that. Today has beaten transfer deadline day in the football. It's ironic that it started today. I mean, we're talking about 12 years ago. That we found out that Lewis Hamilton was moving to Mercedes and was going to replace Michael Schumacher. Some thought the news was a bit shrewd. Some thought it was a bit brave of him to do that. It was first speculated by Eddie Jordan, that his agent, Lewis Hamilton's agents, denied at the time. It turned out to be true. There was a reason for going there. It looked surprising at first, and then you look at the amount of titles he wrapped up at Mercedes when those new regulations came in as well, and it's been it's been a bond that's lasted for ages, and ages and ages and ages, and it's something that you'd thought he'd end his career at, but for whatever reason, he has decided to do the most utter shock move in the history of Formula One by moving to Ferrari for next season. I mean, we're not even starting the season, and we already have a driver move for next season. I have to say, this is it's one of the most incredible moves of all time. I do wonder what has caused Lewis Hamilton to suddenly decide not to take up the option of extending another year, and use the release clause instead on his contract to secure a quick move to Ferrari? I'm fascinated and really surprised and shocked. We know Ferrari are not known greatly with their strategies, so it's going to be a case of, do we know something about the Ferrari with the regulations and the next set of changes coming up about 2026 that we don't know about? Are they really progressing on that as well? The news that Ferrari delivered to Bike today, I mean, the news came out this morning via Italian sources. And then Will Buxton was sort of hinting something last night that nobody knew about, but he was hinting something big and massive. And I thought it was going to be a bit of a non-starter because, Albert Ferrero, or whatever his name is, hinted at some massive news that was a bit of a non-starter and he had to apologise for it. Well, Will Buxton was hinting something last night that was bang on the money in terms of how significant and huge of the news would it be. So the sources started going around this morning saying this was happening. Then mid-morning, we had Sky Sports News confirming the news that Lewis Hamilton was about to make a sensational move to Ferrari. And we had the Mercedes employees called to an urgent meeting at its Brackley HQ at about 2 p.m. this afternoon, which lasted about 10 minutes. And it was, the confirmation by Toto Wolff, who joined remotely, that Lewis Hamilton was out of the team and going to be moving to Ferrari at the end of the year. I have to say, I feel sorry for the employees who probably found this out via other sources rather than their own team at first. But, we didn't actually hear anything until 7 p.m. tonight. I'm surprised. It felt the fact that, Ferrari put out a barely 3 lines of statement confirming the news, and Mercedes had to come up with something really quickly. I mean, the quotes as well. It's been a very rushed operation, I feel, from both teams tonight. But the news just broke out, and I feel like it's stunning. Really, it's absolutely stunning. What we need to look, obviously, within the news as well, is the fact there is a driver out of Ferrari at the end of the year, and that is Carlos Sainz. We know that Leclerc has signed a multi-year deal recently with Ferrari, committing his future there as well. Sources are saying that, Leclerc knew that Lewis Hamilton was coming to Ferrari when he signed that new contract. So that's a skewed move from him to hope get a long-term deal down. But yeah, it leaves Carlos Sainz without a drive for 2025 at the moment. Where will he end up? Will he end up at potentially Stake, or should it be Audi in the future? I mean, Stake F1, whatever crap names they got in their system.
Yeah.
Who knows? And then the speculation will be who's going to take the second Mercedes seat alongside George Russell as well. I mean, who knows? You got various options. Fernando Alonso has been speculated. I mean, look out for Alex Albon if I think he's a possible option in that seat, as I feel like it for me as well. You've got to perform obviously throughout the season, but that's another option. Will Mercedes sort of go and look elsewhere, more in their junior ranks, if anything as well? I feel like that'll be a bit of a step up. But for me at the moment, I feel like for my 2 picks to take that Mercedes seat next year, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, but this is what happens when you reveal silly season too early. I think at the moment the stages of grief are probably either Albon or Alonso, because Alonso's out of contract for next season, for this season as well. Albon, I thought he did have a multi-year deal, but who knows? I mean, what get out of clause that he has, I don't know what. People want to see Mick Schumacher going there as well. I don't think that's likely. He's out of F1. He's been out of F1 for the last 2 years. He can't suddenly get struck into a Mercedes seat as well. Or will they do one of the outsider ranks as well? Will they want to do one of the development reserve drivers? I don't know. There's a whole year to speculate as well. But honestly, today's been stunning, literally absolutely stunning in terms of driver market. I mean, it's been better than the whole January transfer window in the football, and that's telling you something as well. But yeah, well, now we've got a whole season to speculate. We'll have something to talk about in terms of who takes the second seats as well. The Lewis Hamilton deal, as I understand it, and what I'm reading as well, is, and nothing's been confirmed. Ferrari has just said it's a multi-year deal. I'm reading it's about 2 years, possibly plus one as an option. We don't know, because Ferrari didn't say what it was as well. They took about 3 lines of press release to rush it out, and then and then it was official. But yeah, it's about 2 years, potentially option for a third. I don't know. I mean, will Hamilton retire there potentially? Yeah. I mean, surely he's going to stay there now for the next couple of years, unless he starts winning championship after championship after championship after championship. I mean, you know, with Ferrari, they could get their game together by the time that happens. But I don't know. I'm really, yeah, it's a shock news bit today, and like I said, it took all of us by surprise. It took me by surprise as well. And there was something momental on the way from what Will Buxton was saying last night. But oh, blimey, I didn't expect to be momentum as this in terms of the driver market and silly season for 2025 starting in February of 2024. That been something about that today. I mean, I've lost track of it. It's incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible.
I have to say this, guys. I think the move for Hamilton this is a make or break move for him. And I think if he does not win a race for next season at Ferrari, we're hoping he can win a race. But if he doesn't win a race, I think he's made, in my opinion, the biggest mistake ever in the history of motorsport to make the move to Ferrari. I mean, I'm not saying that. I hope he does well. That's all I'm going to say. I hope he does well. But the last 2 years, Mercedes didn't give him a car that could win a championship. He has had very silly errors, I think he's made, particularly last season. Oscar Piastri in Monza, he made a clumsy move there, collided with him. Piastri got taken out. Well, taken out of the race. He demoted him well down the field. No fault of his own. And in Qatar, he decided to go for a gap that didn't exist and took himself out of the race. So I'm just saying a couple of errors he's made because, I'm behind the wheel. He is a mastermind. He is a 7-time world champion. He's a legend of the sport. He's a GOAT, in my opinion. But the way things are going at the moment, I think Verstappen will be coming back and certainly will be. The way Red Bull are going at the moment, I think the ranks are clear. Unless this Ferrari can challenge. I hope they do. I hope we get a much closer season this year. Please comment down below, guys, what you make. First car launches tomorrow. That's the Haas. Haas are going to be launching their cars. So we'll keep you updated on all that news as well. So that's the Formula One. And that was the earlier on news stories. We're now going to go to talk about vaping now, because the government have announced this week that disposable vapes are set to be banned, from what we understand. Now, you guys know that a lot of people have been buying these underage. Some people who are over the age of 18 have been offering these vapes, the fruity flavoured vapes, to younger children, which we know is illegal. You can be done for this. And look, you might be surprised what I'm about to say here, because I think this is a good move by the government. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I don't want young people. I mean, smoking. I understand over 18s. I get that. If you're over the age of 18, completely different. It's personal choice. I don't think we should ban them for over 18s. But Zach, for under 18s, this is where it can be a lot more harmful for them, particularly with such chemicals that are used in it that could cause severe problems for the body, particularly their health.
Yeah, I actually agree with this. I think, health, some of it people have accused it of being a nanny state, interfering unnecessarily, all that sort of thing as well. Or where, the government trying to make decisions with people's lives, all that sort of thing as well. But I think it's a good decision, quite frankly. I think this is good for the health of the young people as well. And smoking, putting these stuff in your mouth, disposable vapes can be, pretty dangerous. And they are promoted in sections of shops and everything like that as well, that are, that can be quite visible to young people as well. So the disposable vape ban is welcome. And I think, it makes sense, like I said, from a health point of view, and the health of as people as well. Now the problem is about this is that it's because possible that over 18s could then just buy disposable vapes and sell it onto the kids and everything like that. There's a problem here, and there's a potential and difficulties in that. But I don't know, what will happen on that front as well, because that needs to be something addressed. But I think as well, I think this is a welcome move by the government in this thread, in the sense, and I all support government decisions, whatever the party is in government, that are actually sensible. With preventing vapes being marketed at children targets underage sales. It's a welcome effort as well. We've seen the figures of from Ash suggesting 7.6% of 11 to 17-year-olds now vape regularly or occasionally. That's up from 4.1% 4 years ago. Obviously taking all the nicotine and all the chemicals and everything like that as well. It is very horrible. So yeah, I welcome this action actually by the government. I think it's a good move. And I don't think it's too much of a nanny state to protect people's health, really, as well. Some people might say, "Oh, you're making a decision for people, taking off liberties and freedom." Rubbish. If you want to, if you want to protect the health of children, that's one way to do it.
Children, to be honest with you, and Zach, I mean, the thing is, children are the most vulnerable to these. If you get under 18s using these, even cigarettes or vaping, because I was reading up reports the other day. I watched the This Morning interview where apparently a head teacher had to install like alarms in his toilets because some students were actually apparently going to the toilet out of class and using it to actually vape in there, and the alarms kept going off. And I mean, look, like even schools, this is turning into a huge problem. I mean, we can't see it. I really hope we don't see an epidemic in young people in this. I mean, they've had these things confiscated. I mean, Zach, there's something clear that licensing in some of these like shops in that, particularly like corner shops and stuff, or children over the age of 18, like giving these to young people. Something's got to be done here, because I think licensing details may have to be updated for some of these disposable vapes. So encouraging buy these fruity flavors like strawberries and stuff.
Yeah, like I said, putting it in some of these shops that they put in, they're very visible to children. They can be at the front, then you always need to be in the corner where they possibly can be visible, but not visible as some others want it to be. And we need to prevent all these sort of things that are happening as well. And it's it's essential that the sale of this is sort of not reduced and less promoted than before, because at the end of the day, a high visibility vaping market is not great for the youngsters that, like I say, taking all that rubbish as well, and is going to damage people's health. So this is more of a wide move, obviously, by the government to sort of ban smoking as well. And it sounds quite radical on the offset as well, if you think about it. It doesn't. It may not sound conservative. It's quite progressive, actually. That increasing the smoking age every year and then banning disposable vapes. But the results of this is that you don't have to go to the NHS then to clear, or to see the doctor because you've got poor lungs and anything like that. It just clears an issue and makes the NHS less on strain. So anything to do with promote good health and stop horrible things like, vape, lungs and it collapse and everything like that, and chemicals, then yeah, it's more than welcome with me.
I mean, I went out to Lakeside the other day. Okay, I went out, like, you go Lakeside or wherever, Tesco or whatever. I was out shopping the other day, looking around the shops. I think it was in Lakeside in Thurrock, and I saw downstairs a massive, like you go to like Basel Lakeside, okay, shopping centres, and I was walking past this massive stand of these like fruity vapes, and I was like drawn into. I like looked at them, and I feel like I was drawn into these vapes, thinking, oh, these things look like chewing toys, and they look like some magic potions, the abracadabra effect, But they're not. They're still blimmin'. They're still got nicotine. Exactly as you said, nicotine in them. Nicotine's harmful, very harmful. I mean,
Yeah.
I think over 18s, I get it. I mean, over 18s, I don't think it should be banned. I think it's personal responsibility, as I said earlier. But under 18s, it's places like Southend where I've seen the news where it's really bad. I mean, we clearly have to look at this very into consideration about how local councils really implement these rules, because I think schools, local councils are really going to have to start stepping up enforcement on this. Parents as well, because these disposable vapes for young children should never be put in their hands at all. Please comment down below, guys, what you make to this news that the Prime Minister announced the other day. Let me know what you think of it. Now it's time for the start heroes and villains of the week. I'm going to go for my heroes now. This week's heroes is an interesting nomination because I have his t-shirt on tonight. You might know I am wearing a special t-shirt. It is, of course, TS5. It's the Craig David t-shirt, of course, because I'm actually nominating Craig David and Wes Nielsen tonight. To my surprise, I didn't even know this until earlier this week. They have a new song dropping tomorrow. It is called Abracadabra. Now, this song, Craig has released a little sample of this song, which I'm going to play for you now because I love this. This is a really cool song that is coming out tomorrow. And I thought, you know what? I need to play a little sample of this because it's a song that's going to be releasing. It's called Abracadabra. To anyone who doesn't know, that's obviously what magicians or wizards use, when they say abracadabra when they put a potion out or something. And Craig David and Wes Nielsen have come up with this interesting little collaboration. Craig did release this on his social media pages the other day, the song, and it certainly looks very, very interesting. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately I can't get the song up at the moment. I'll try and get a little sample of it later on, for you guys to listen to. But yeah, that is essentially Craig. Let me see if I can get it up right now. I do apologise that the device is. Here we go. This is it here, guys. This is Craig David singing Abracadabra right here for you. This is the little sample we're going to play for you with the tune. Have a listen to this. Unfortunately, the volume has decided to crash. Yeah, no, unfortunately, guys, the volume has decided. I'll try and get it on for you in a bit so I can play it. But that's the nomination for that, and my Devils of the Week. Well, the Devils of the Week really are. I'm gonna give it to that person who done that acid attack, and the Home Office as well for what they done, letting that asylum seeker in. I think that what that suspect done, the one I think it was in Nottingham. I think it was a stabbing in Nottingham as well. But that one who done that chemical attack, You know, why was he even brought into the UK? I mean, it's unbelievable. Border crisis and stuff. Sort your borders out, government, and you let a blimmin' asylum seeker in. And I think there's also been a Harvard scandal as well this week, from what I remember as well. No, GB News have been reporting on that. So it gets another nomination. What do you make to my nominations for the heroes and villains this week?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have to say, decent nominations, I have to say, on that front. And with it comes with mine now. Let me start with the hero of the week. I'm going to give it to Erica Hart. Now, who's Erica Hart, you wonder? Another ordinary person. She is a pet detective who has helped track down and reunite 330 lost dogs with their owners for free. And she does this by using a thermal imaging drone. She doesn't accept a penny for work. And then she volunteers her own time to help out with finding dogs as well, and finding them in the area as well. She's helped dogs from Scotland to Somerset as well, and she's been on 330 dog rescue missions with her drones as well. She's not just done dogs. She has done cats, emus, cows, and helped mountain rescue locate missing people as well. It's an incredible job that she has done as well. And it's amazing what she's done actually as well. She does her duty 7 days a week. Done it on Christmas Day, even New Year's Day as well. She's been part of a 12-day mission. That's her longest one. But she says the length for the rescue depends on whether the animal goes missing or it goes into flight mode as well. But yeah, it's incredible what she does for a living. And for me, she is my hero of the week. I have to say, the villain of the week for me goes to the Coburn asylum seeker who has decided to go do the poisoning of innocent people as well, and cause misery for shoppers as well. I have to say, quite frankly, chemical attacks is horrible and is actually unacceptable. It causes a dividing community, and really harms people. But the fact that she was this person was a asylum seeker as well, means that the Coburn asylum seeker who committed the chemical attack is my villain of the week on that one, on that front, Charlie, as well. I've just seen that you've loaded up your computer.
Yeah, laptop is now activated, thankfully, which now means I can finally now get back to what I was saying. Also, as well, guys, I forgot to mention, I will play a little sample of this Craig David song as I nominated him this week. This is Abracadabra. This is a little sample of the track that is coming out tomorrow with Wes Nielsen. Don't know who Wes Nielsen is. He's actually, I think, from Love Island, I believe, and done Love Island a few years ago, and also X Factor. This is the song Abracadabra, a little sample of it now. See what you guys think of it.
I really should have known better. But I miss it with you when you said abracadabra. Honey, it's better, don't matter. I really should have known better. But I miss it with you.
That's the song. Zach, what do you make to that little sample of the record? It sounds like it's going to be a good hit from what Craig is singing on that beach there.
Oh, it sounds catchy as well. And if there's just a sample, but a lot of music artists these days use samples to create a hit. And yeah, if you can do that, then it'd be mightily impressive. And yeah, you can turn it into a great David classic. Who knows?
Yeah, please, I hope this song goes on Ibiza Rock some one year. Literally, I'm counting down them days now, so it is going to be really interesting. Yeah, honestly, guys, that song dropping tomorrow might obviously last week as well, if you didn't know last week as well, Spicy Margarita actually dropped by Michael Bublé and Jason Derulo. I mean, Zach, what did you make to that song? That one was certainly a surprise nomination.
I'm a bit surprised that one. If you ask me about Jason Derulo and Michael Bublé collaborating, I think you'd be off a little bit off my market, to be fair. But yeah, it's a strange collaboration. It's a fascinating collaboration, and it's very Jason Derulo by a number, because he makes quite a lot of weird and wild songs overall. And yeah, that one was just an example of it. Yeah, it's a fascinatingly weird song, and it's incredibly fun to listen to. It's just wow, I love it. A very interesting collaboration.
Yeah, it certainly is an interesting one, and I'm kind of very intrigued by it all. So yeah, that's the end now of the heroes and villains. Sports news now. We'll go over a little bit of the footy action. As you guys know, there has been some football scores this week. In the Premier League, I'd also give a nomination as well for Marcus Rashford on one of the villains this week, because apparently he got fined for apparently going clubbing, from what I remember as well. So apparently he faked an absence. I don't know. Don't want to be doing that, especially if you're working. Your bosses won't be impressed with that. As long as you let them know about your shift changes. But yeah, currently at the moment, this is the matches right now. Currently at the moment, Manchester United are beating Wolves 4-3. West Ham and Bournemouth have drawn 1-1. Wednesday, we had some matches. Man City beat Burnley 3-1, 3-2 Tottenham against Brentford. Liverpool 4, Chelsea 1. I think that's going to be the Carabao Cup final as well. And also on Tuesday, some pretty a shock as well. Luton 4-0 winners against Brighton. A huge shock there for Brighton. Newcastle also shocking Aston Villa. Arsenal beating Nottingham Forest. Everton and Fulham goalless. Crystal Palace beating Sheffield United 3-2. And then there's more matches on the Saturday as well. And also throughout the weekend. Arsenal Liverpool highlights on Sunday. Also Manchester United play West Ham as well. Chelsea play Wolves. And then also on Saturday, we've got Everton, Tottenham, Brighton and Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Luton and Sheffield United, Aston Villa. And there's also been some transfer news as well. Obviously, deadline day today as well to all the football players. Deadline day, the last day to get transfer news in as well. Sheffield United have signed defender Holgate on loan from Everton. Crystal Palace signed Blackburn midfielder Wharton for £18 million. Also, Chelsea strikers close to joining Fulham on a loan. There's plenty of transfer news. Zach, what do you make so far to the latest news from the world of football?
Yeah, it's been a packed midweek action of football. The full set of fixtures over the last 3 days. There's been some surprising results in here, I have to say as well. One of the most surprising ones for me was the fact that Luton Town beating Brighton 4-0. That was a shocker for Brighton, an absolute glory for Luton, who's actually outside got out of the relegation zone. With that result, I'll tell you the goals. It was Ida Adebayo who scored a hat trick, first 42nd, 56 minutes, and then Chizzy Bini in the 3rd minute. So there was 2 goals in 4 minutes there for Luton, and then after they just dominated the game. Overall, it was brilliant from them as well. Brighton had the most possessions, but the most shots on target were Luton. 8 shots on targets, 18 shots overall, and they were just a better team. They were better at executing all that sort of thing as well. But yeah, it was a really surprising result on that one for me in terms of the result as well. Stunning match tonight, I have to say as well. Wolves came from behind at one point to draw 3-3, and then Man United beating Fulham in the last couple of minutes. I'll just tell you what happened in that one because it was a pretty surprising one. Marcus Rashford scored in the 5th minute. He's been the centre of headlines this week for going off for undisclosed nightclub visit, and then reported ill the next day into training as well. Not great. And then we had some absolute dramatic ending as well. It was Marcus Rashford Hoyle in the 22nd minute. Then Pablo Serrata scored in the 71st minute thanks to a penalty. And then we had Scott McTominay score. Then we had Max Kilman score. Pedro Neto in the 95th minute. And then Kubo Mayo in the 97th minute score the winner for for Manchester United. It was a cracking game. Not great that Man United nearly fell apart in the second half, but they just squeaked through a win again overall as well. The other results I look out for: Liverpool were stomping 4-1 victory over Chelsea. I mean, they were just better team of the day, and weren't better. City continuing a good run of 4-3-1 there. Tottenham eking out winning against Brentford. West Ham being held to a draw against Bournemouth as well after a poor first half for them. Aston Villa losing to Newcastle. This is Aston Villa's first home defeat in over a year as well, which shows you how good they've been on the form as well. Palace got back to winning ways, a 3-2 victory against Sheffield United. Fulham and Everton Jordan with a 0-0 draw as well. Not much action there. There's another full round of fixtures again this weekend, starting on Saturday at 12:30 on TNT with Everton taking on Spurs. I think that'll be another tasty match to look forward to. And then there's 3 o'clock games to pick for me. Is Brighton v Palace at the end? This sort of the M23 derby in that one as well. And there's the other game on Saturday evenings at 5:30 on Sky will be Sheffield United v Aston Villa, and then 2 big games. There's actually multiple games on the Sunday as well, but there are 4 games on the Sunday. Pick of them 2 p.m. Man United v West Ham at 2. Chelsea Wars also 2, or Bournemouth Nottingham Forest, and then the big game of the weekend, Arsenal v Liverpool at 4:30. As well on Sunday, and the Monday Night Football will be Brentford v Manchester City. So a lot of football on that day. You were talking about deadline day. There's been a few signings we'll look forward to in the last moment. So Joe Goosey from Adelaide Lions has announced it's come over from Adelaide to sign for Aston Villa as well. Other bits of news I'm looked out for as well. Brighton, Carl Vickers, Reading as well, gone to Brighton for undisclosed fee. As well, in that one, that's a good sign. There's been loan day Mills as well. Catherine Frey goes on loan to Liverpool United. Fullerton, this is very Irish as well. From Hull, Ben Rama, West Ham, who's Ben Rama from West Ham. He's gone loan to Lyon again as well from West Ham. And I believe I'm trying to update on Pablo Fornals because there was something about him earlier. I don't know if he's had official as well. Yeah, so Pablo Fornals is set to join Real Betis in Spain on a £7 million transfer as well on that front as well. But so there's been a few deadline day signings on that front in the market as well. In terms of West Ham, they got Calvin Phillips as well, who had a bit of a shocker on his first game back as well. But yeah, it's been some interesting signings. Again, it doesn't beat the F1 for me in terms of deadline day signings, but it's been a busy day at least in terms of the transfer market in the Premier League.
Yeah, and it doesn't get any bigger than that. There's lots of
yeah, there you go.
Lots of news there on the football. The Apprentice as well. I need to watch The Apprentice because I haven't watched it yet, but
I won't give it away.
So we will unveil the first firing next week on the show. We will unveil the first firing of the series. I feel like we shouldn't unveil the first firing tonight because I need to watch it first. So, it's kind of important that people understand that we're not giving away spoilers. What we can give away, though, is Formula E spoilers now. Formula E, Nick Cassidy winning race 3 in Diriyah. That was in Saudi Arabia last week. I thought the racing was much better than Mexico, in my opinion. I thought that. you know, as well. But in the Formula E, just in general, was an interesting race. Azat, what did you take away from the Formula E action in Derry the other week?
Yeah, I have to say it was a good set of two races. Actually, it was better than, like you said, Mexico. I feel like into the race. I feel like the better race was race round 3 actually, because that was the field was only spread by about a couple of seconds. Actually, the top 10 was separated by 6 seconds overall. There's no overtakes in the last couple of laps, unfortunately. But Nick Cassidy was a lucky guy, winning by only a couple of seconds actually. From Robin France over Rome. They're the top 3 by 1 second as well. The Robin France couldn't put a move on Nick Cassidy, unfortunately, who started in 3rd position but made his way up to lead as well. Well done to him. Robin France started where he, qualified again in 2nd. Oliver Rowland did get pole, but couldn't convert the form, but he did remain on the podium. So well done on him on that one as well. That was race 3. On round 2, obviously, it was Jake Dennis that got the victory on that one ahead of John Vernon and Nick Cassidy as well. Been a good weekend for Nick Cassidy. Let's go back to round 3 though, because that's where the latest round is on that one. Just outside the podium, let's look at some of the drivers. Jake Hughes progressing from 6th to 4th. Stoffel Van Dorn 5th. Sasha finished just 6th. Pascal had a better race, 10th to 7th on that one on that front. John Vernon 8th. Maxine Gunter 9th. Mitch Evans 10th. Edouard Martin made some progress through the field from 18th to 11th, just missed out on the top 10. After a good set of round 2, Jake Dennis didn't do that well in round 3, 12th position for him. Then it was Nico Muller 13th and Felix Costa with some progress from 21st to 14th. Nick De Vries 15th, Nato 16th, Degrassi 17th, Sergio Sechek 18th. Issue for Dan Tickton, I'm afraid. It was in 19th as well, DNF'd. Also problems with Jan Derula. Sam Bird also had issues as well. He finished in last position, 22nd. Bremy 21st as well. That's pretty much results there. And so what that means in terms of the standing, because it's quite close already, in terms of the standings, is that Nick Cassidy has already got a 19-point lead because of the consistent round 2 and 3 results, ahead of Pascal Verlaine 2nd. So good start for Jaguar in that front there as well. But John Vernon's 3rd, Jake Dennis is 4th as well. So it's a little bit less spread out behind as well. But Nick Cassidy with a 19-point advantage already going to round 4, which not until March now, because obviously Indy got cancelled. Hyderabad got the government called it off there as well. So we're not racing now until March. We've got a month's gap, and then we're heading off to Sao Paulo for round 4 of the championship, right? And I have to say, Sao Paulo delivered last year for me. There was some really cracking, especially the end of the race, cracking into the race for the last season, well, with some surprising overtakes on that front as well. But round 4 will be next month in March, and it'll be Sao Paulo for that one. It'll just be the one round, I believe, on the 16th of March as well, which I believe, if correct in saying, is a Saturday. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, correct. And it's one day after my birthday as well. So I get a birthday weekend of watching Formula E as well. So it will be interesting. I don't know if there is actually an F1 race on that weekend as well. I don't know. But yeah, it's certainly Formula E will be on that weekend. I'm sure that the electric racing series will be back on that weekend. But yeah, interesting race. Again, Sam Bird not having a great start for Mr. McLaren at the moment. And Jake Dennis winning race 2, dominant race 2 victory for Jake Dennis. I did watch the highlights of both of the races. Nick Cassidy, though, in the 3rd race, definitely looking the part. Very strong performance. Can Nick Cassidy finally win the championship this year? And can Jaguar win it? Mitch Evans has become so close. He was kind of acting rear gunner in that race. So, yeah, all will be revealed. Now it's time for Conversation Street as well. Obviously, we had I just want to quickly update you on the Rolex 24 as well. That was, I think, the other week. Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona that took place. I've got to watch again highlights from the Rolex 24 as well. That was one by, I think, actually, I don't even know if the race is actually going ahead, but
No, it went ahead last week.
Sorry, it was Porsche that won. Tom Blanc, Felipe Nasr had 2023 star. Tom Blancfist on the back of his rim for 40 minutes, and the Porsche driver prevailed to give the 963 its biggest win. That was that. Congratulations, Tom Blancfist. Zach, before we go, what did you make to the Rolex 24?
Yeah, I have to say, I saw clips of it. That last hour of the race was very, very good as well. Very good, very, very good in terms of the battles that happened on track. For the leads, especially as well. It surprised me to how well close some of the battles were. And it was really, really, really good, especially the battle between Porsche and the Cadillac in GTP. Well, there was some stunning battles out there, and it resulted as well in quite an incredible, I think it was a 2-second gap between Penske and Cadillac towards the end of the race, actually. But yeah, it was taken victory by Porsche with Dan Cameron, Matt Campbell, Felipe Massa, and Joseph Newgarden. Obviously, Cadillac missed out with Jack Aiken, Tom Blockhouse, and PK Durrani as well, just missing out on that one by a small, slender margin. And then the 14 seconds behind, we had Andretti and Porsche Motorsports as well. And then in fifth place, we came on the Compton Mustang as well. The overall is very good Rolex 24, especially towards the last hour, with some absolutely amazing battles between certainly the Porsche and the Cadillac. Was some really great racing overall.
Very, very great race here. A great racing from all that wraps up all the sports news. It's now time for Conversation Street this week. We are going to be talking about something important now on this segment this week, because I thought I would talk about a couple of things. First of all, next week is National Apprenticeship Week. For anyone who guys don't know what apprenticeships are basically like courses you can take up if you want to get a job. It basically combines on-the-job training with also basically studying. Colleges like South Essex College offer these apprenticeships out. If you go online, there's lots of apprenticeships. There's retail apprenticeships. There's also apprenticeships in companies like construction, customer service. We want to raise awareness for National Apprenticeship Week. And, it's so important that people out there recognise apprenticeships as a big, big boost to help their lives, especially if you're a young person, leaving school, you don't know what you want to do. If you want to get a kickstart going into the world of work, something like this is great. And you actually get paid for this as well, by the way. You do actually get paid. I mean, Zach, I'm sure you've had the experience of doing something like this, and I'm sure you'd be able to elaborate on that in a minute, exactly what apprenticeships can help benefit young people, because it's a big important step towards careers and stuff, even if people are looking for something to cover themselves for a little while, because apprenticeships are very, very important. Zach, obviously your personal experience of working in recruitment, how does apprenticeships change the face of ourselves, and also to young people? What could they really gain out of it, especially for those who've got SEND?
Yeah, well, I've had the experience of doing an apprenticeship, especially in the past, and it was really good. I have to say, I learned, you're not only working in an environment where you actually get paid to do work, but you're also learning on the way as well. You develop new skills, new abilities, you gain an education, you got a mentor that's helping you as well. You got a team of employees that are supporting you, assisting you, and telling you a lot of things along the way as well. There's a lot of them out there as well. There's level 2s, level 3s, and in various sectors as well, like recruitment as well. You help people get onto the employment market potentially through the agencies. You mentioned constructions, like marketing, all that sort of thing as well. Digital marketing as well, and there's schools, education, healthcare, all that sort of things as well. Apprenticeships are a nice way to find employment, and whilst learning on the job as well, and gain some qualifications as well that can recognise when you get to potentially get after a year or so, you can find a full-time paid permanent position, or even a part-time, depending what options there are as well. But yeah, so it's a really, National Apprenticeship Weeks is really there to sort of recognise that sort of ability that you could have, and at least get people to work as well. And I think it's a really good initiative as well. But there's just so many ways that I can, employ the apprenticeship. Sort of for what I did, sort of helped me to find a part-time role for a little bit until that was scrapped. But never mind, less said the better. But I enjoy my time. Obviously, when I was in employment, and I'm still looking for work. I might have something up my sleeve soon, hopefully. But nevertheless, it was a good experience, and it's well worth it if you want to at least make a name for yourself, make your CV look even better as well, and get recognised by employers.
It's an important initiative, and we recommend that you take it up. I think, if any of you are looking for it, it's a good skill. Obviously, you do have to have relevant qualifications for it, but even some apprenticeships they can let you do with lower qualifications. So, yeah, it's kind of a good thing. T levels as well. So it's a good way to talk about careers if you like careers like me. So certainly interesting as well. Now, the second thing I want to talk about tonight on this show is, well, am I going to get a bit controversial with what I'm going to be talking about tonight on this show? I feel like we should talk tonight about a show that has had an interesting beginnings of being on Love Island. Now, I've not watched Love Island, but I'm sure Zach has plenty of gossip to tell me about the Love Island series. Obviously, Love Island's hosted by Maya Jama. It's a show that obviously you get YouTubers go in. I think Sam Thompson's been in there before and various other YouTubers. Zach, Love Island is a show that obviously attracts lots of people, lots of girls, lots of whoever you want to know. What's the latest on the Love Island saga at the moment?
It's a mess, quite frankly. So those who don't know what Love Island is, it's trash that I watch, and I trash that I think is crap, but just I still end up watching it anyway. So what it is, you go on an island, you get a bunch of blokes, bunch of girls. You all come out wearing your shorts and everything like that. You jumper, you have to have a good looking body. Everything like that, so the girls can have a nice little touch around it. Sorry, I know it sounds a bit inappropriate when I say that, but it's essentially what it is, though. And then you go on there, you get producer influenced and all that sort of thing. Well, you create a task, you find a girl in there, try and find a couple up with, do a series of tasks that test your relationship and all that sort of thing as well. You might find love, or most of the time you might even split up in there as well. It's all a bit messy drama up in there as well. There were eliminations last night. I haven't seen tonight's one because I've been too busy watching the apprenticeship and watching the darts as well, and then watching the football at the same time, so I'm gonna have to catch up later as well. But yeah, last night we saw Messi Mitch go, a few hours Hannah go as well. I think it was Tyler that went as well, also as well, and I can't remember who the fourth one was as well. But and then there was two new ones in, and then I think it was Joanna Casey. This is an all-star series as well, by the way. These are all islanders that have previously come in the past. They're going in, they're trying to scoop tonight. There's a some sort of challenge tonight as well. I think it's never have I ever task. I think it is. Where you have to drink if you've not done something or something like that. I haven't seen it yet. I won't, so I can't really give away any spoilers or anything like that. It's a good job I don't need to give away any spoilers, but yeah, it's a messy task, and yeah, I'm not. It's trash show, but I still watch it. It's sort of run out of momentum over the last few years, probably because they've probably overdone it with the amount of actual shows they've produced over the years. We only need one series per summer. They've killed it off, probably in my view, but by not making it as well, by doing 2 series a year, which is not helpful. But I still watch it anyway, and I don't. If you're a young person out there who's looking for love, I don't think Love Island is exactly the sort of model that I'll be looking for if you want to find something along the way. I'm sorry, it's just not. I watch it, but it's just it's a bit. It's not a good example of our young people, I feel.
Yeah, it's an interesting show. I don't know what to say on that one. Yeah, certainly it's got some interesting vibes. Comment down below, guys, what you make to Love Island. We're now going to play a song. This song is a classic. I'm going to play it for you guys. It's a classic song by 90s DJ. It's Ahmed Van Helden playing tonight.
Different.
Radio edit. This is a song that I think you all know. You Don't Know Me tonight. We'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you there to Ahmed Van Helden and also Juna Harden there with the song You Don't Know Me. Zach, what do you make that song? It's a proper 90s classic, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is a 90s classic as well. Yeah, it's a great dance tune. Really, it was very popular in the clubs during those days, and yeah, it was an absolute tune and still very much played a lot these days as well.
Yeah, it's a classic song. A lot of people don't know Ahmed Van Helden. Please check him out. He's got some really good songs on there as well. I think the music sounds better or something with you. I think is another one he's done. I'm not entirely sure, but I know he's done some very famous. That's the one I know, but I only know that because Craig David and a couple of other people have done a remake of that song. So, yeah, but I think also that's the original version, Ahmed Van Helden's one. It's when that song's been covered multiple times. But yeah, no, it's a great tune, absolute classic 90s tune. Can't go wrong with a bit of 90s music. So yeah. It's time now to talk about the papers now. It's press preview time. We've got some newspapers to get through tonight. Talking about the day's news stories. Let's go over them, shall we? See what the newspapers are unveiling tonight. Right now. So the Daily Star goes for "You'll Never Want Alone." Ty Cops warning over Liverpool new Bosscon. Forwards to the clones, Xabi Alonso Insta and ask fans to cough up around £6 70 each so he can catch a flight to England. Is Liverpool apparently is saying that he's on a socialist fight fare from fans. I don't know what that is. It's an interesting one. And also, Wing Nuts Super Bowl is fixed to harm Trump. More US as well. In the Daily Express, Jeremy Hunt, if I pronounce the name correctly, Jeremy Hunt plotting new 1p national insurance.
Another one.
1p is
another one.
Penny. Oh dear. Daily Express reports Jeremy Hunt's compensation is 1 penny reduction in national insurance. That's nothing. Talking about cutting taxes, that's baby steps. The Times goes for bank cheat raises hopes that the rates have peaked. That comes as inflation as forecast to meet 2% target in the spring. Daily Mirror goes Gaza's message to start: don't make the same mistakes as me, Marcus. Legend says troubled Rashford needs our help.
Yeah.
Daily Telegraph goes with the asylum seeker. Failed claimed asylum seeker. That was the one we were on about the other day. Nationwide manhunt as MPs call for system to be overhauled. As well, Daily Mail goes with a nationwide search for a sex offender. I think that's to do with the same one as Telegraph, one the chemical. Or is that one the different? Oh yeah, no, chemical attack involving two.
Yeah, it's the same
that
one.
Is the same one also as well. The Guardian goes for US orders strikes on Iran-backed military in revenge for base attack. Hashtag is World War III coming closer to bite with the incompetence of Biden's back door there in the administration. The newspaper goes, the paper highlights stealth tax hike impacting millions despite Tory demands the cuts. The Independent goes, Minister tells MP, we've got it wrong on Afghan war heroes. Independent votes to right demanding sanctuary for special forces. It comes after, over the last week, UK news saying that potential conscripts could be involved if war does eventually break out against Russia as well. And Financial Times goes for BOE, set stage for rate cuts, but insists more evidence of falling inflation. And also, can't forget, the Metro goes for reports on the eye rolling could be considered a workplace microaggression. So plenty of papers to get through tonight, Zach.
Yeah, right. So let's go to the start at the top there. I'm going to do a few stories, actually. I'm going to combine them as well. Eventually, I'll get to that. But let's start with Star. I think I get the joke on this one, actually. So I think You'll Never Want Alone. Are forced to clone the Instagram accounts of Liverpool's potential new manager, Xabi Alonso. So now, you didn't see the news. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp is leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. Another surprise announcement that happened in the world of sport this week, especially in football. But no, this one's just as surprising. And the favourite manager to take over Jurgen Klopp is Xabi Alonso, who I think won the team that he's one of the teams. I think it's Bayer Leverkusen is that in Germany. I think that's. I could be wrong on that one. I'm not quite sure. But there was a clone that decided to clone the Instagram accounts of Xabi Alonso, asking them to loan in the fare of a flight to their training ground. These days it's easy to catch themselves out, and I hope people didn't fall for that, because quite frankly, I wouldn't want to fall for that as well. Daily Express, Hunt planting a new 1p national insurance cut. Another one, they say. I mean, it only went down to 10p earlier this year. Now probably go back down to 9p as well. The room for tax cuts are not as big as the Chancellor previously, as he thought the Chancellor previously wanted, according to him. And that's what he told Cabinet. Now, that may disappoint certain Cabinet right-wingers as well, and backbench Conservative MPs who want tax cut bonanza ahead of the elections. But I feel like, I don't know whether it's going to be expectation management in terms of tax cuts, or whether they're going to be absolute massive tax cuts before the election. The IMF as well, the International Monetary Fund, also said as well that actually we shouldn't be seeing, governments around the world shouldn't be doing too much tax cuts because of the stability of the economy as well. That was a surprising intervention, but I don't know if they're going to have enough as well. Is this expectation management? Possibly. Is there not much room as the autumn budget? May not. It's very much likely there may not be as well. National insurance tax cut over an income tax cut again. Interesting. We don't know. Quite frankly, the chances of got sleeves as well. Times, business chief, bank chief rate hope that REITs have peaked. I'm going to do that as well. I believe the Financial Times as well leads up with something similar as well. So I'll do that at both as well. Interest rate decisions today, it remains at 5.25%. The forecasts are now sort of saying on this as well that the 2% target of inflation is probably going to now be reached at April rather than the end of this year as well. The service prices remain high, but there are expectations now, because of the fact that inflation is sort of getting there a bit quicker now, and slowing down much at a faster pace. There may sort of be room eventually, depending on how fast and the travel direction, that we may start seeing some interest rate cuts this year alone. I wouldn't be surprised if the first cut we get is a cut from 5.25 to 5%. That will be a good sign for the markets, I have to say, as well, if we do start cutting interest rates as well. And I think we welcome. It was the vote, by the way, was a 6-1 in favour of keeping interest rates the same as well. But yeah, the resilience of the economy, I think there was the other half as well. The economy may not be growing as fast as previously predicted as well, by the looks of it as well, or the interest rate might be a little bit higher as well in the longer term, which may cause be an issue as well. And considering the fact that obviously the Chancellor has to make difficult decisions as well, that could have an impact on the economy line. It's a 50-50 between technical recession and maybe no recession as well. So it looks like the growth is going to struggle this year, according to the Bank of England as well, on that front. So that's the Times and the Financial Times out of the way. The Mirror goes for don't make same mistakes as me, Marcus. This is from Paul Gascoigne. Whose face, this is a message to Marcus Rashford, who got caught out in a nightclub boozing and getting pissed off his head. Excuse my French on that one, but that's what they say. Now he was dropped for disciplinary reasons on during the weekend as well. He did return today and score a goal, thankfully. But Paul Gascoigne raised this sort of message that maybe Marcus Rashford could have booze problems as well. And I've not thought of that, but it could be something to keep an eye on, especially if he keeps clubbing and going out, and getting off, getting drunk as well. Right, moving on. Telegraph and the Mail. And I believe, no, that's the Telegraph and the Mail. I'm going to lead on that one as well. I think in that front. Yeah, Telegraph and the Mail. Focused on the manhunt underway for this asylum seeker as well, who have obviously caused through lack of chemicals a woman and her daughters, caught on TV with severe burns all over his own face. He's 35. He's twice obtained before claimed exceeding for asylum because he claimed to be Christian. That's pathetic. As well, there's a manhunt on the way, hopefully national manhunt on the way for sex offender as well, chemical attack, as well, because he's been previously denied asylum, and I think it's quite shocking actually that he was even allowed in the first place because of his actions, and I have to say, big surprise on that front as well. So the manhunt's on the way to find him and get him arrested and all that sort of things as well. The Guardian, US orders strikes on Iran-based military and revenge for base attack. Yeah, I mean, this is the sort of option I've sort of mentioned earlier as well. Will the US sort of go attack Iran directly, or will they go for more the Syria, Iraqi bases? It looks like they're going down that route as well. But from what I've read as well on that front, it's more going to be a long-term campaign rather than just one sort of revenge, that's it. Hopefully you've deterred now and then we're not going to stop. But actually, it looks like they're going to go for a multi-week campaign in the US as well to prevent this sort of thing happening to their bases and prevent, sort of deter indirectly the Iranians from getting involved as well. And in that front, that's what the Guardian go for. The I go for means face stealth attack rises as Tory demands cuts. I mean, we sort of forget all the tax cuts that sort of been, suggested. Forgetting the fact that means more people are going to go into the stealth attack rises as well because they are being frozen as well. And Jeremy Hunt's not going to have the headroom to do it. He's also unlikely to scrap the heritage. So I think that's welcome actually, because if you scrap the inheritance tax, you're giving £1 million away to the wealthiest of people, and it's cruel. It's a cruel tax in some ways, but it's also a necessary one because it goes mostly on wealthy assets as well. And Labour today pressed not to increase corporation tax as well. That's they obviously had their business conference today. We're at 400 business bosses on the way. That's a significant rise for for Labour in terms of that. They've got so many business people there as well. There as well. We got two more to do because I've done the Times and covered that one as well. Independent counts for the government has been forced to publicly admit flawed decision making lest the Afghan hero has been turned down for sanctuary in Britain, followed by the independent investigation. And the government confirmed they will examine 400 cases of special forces rejected for settlement in the UK. I mean, we knew sort of the Afghan thing was a bit of a mess, but I didn't know it was this such of a mess as well. I mean, we know it was embarrassing, the withdrawal UK and US side of things as well, where some cases where, 2,000 cases have been reviewed as well. Some of the priorities were complete and utter embarrassing for the Conservative and for the government at the time. I mean, the decision they made. I know it's a bit of a decision quickly how to do things, but some of it was completely embarrassing and just not really the standard we want to see. And finally, the Metro. I mean, what the hell is this one? Their reports on civil servants being more than eye rolling could be considered a workplace and microaggression. What? A rolling and rising meeting could be closed to microwave civil servants being told. A training session costing more than £160,000. Staff will also advise not to look at foes, but to nod their head as a way of improving inclusion. No idea. I don't know what scientific reason that could be. Yeah, that's a strange one. I don't really understand that one. I've got to roll my eyes somehow at things. And then that itself is a total eye roll. I mean, seriously, come on. Eye rolling is microaggressive. Yes, if you're only doing it in a really, really aggressive manner, that makes it obvious. But probably in any other ways, not at all. That's a bit of a weird one. And quite frankly, I don't know what the bizarre conclusion on that one. But that, on that note, is the papers for the 2nd of February.
February starts with a bang. That's all I'm going to say. So, yeah, that's your first newspaper review of the month. Yeah, in a nutshell, pretty interesting on that one. And that's all we got time for tonight on the Tonight Show podcast. Thank you so much for watching this show like tonight live on YouTube. We'll see you again next week for another edition. You've had great company tonight. I've been Charlie and Zach. thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next week. Take care and good night.